Once Super Smash Bros. Melee came out, the series began to have a name for itself. And at that point, it was more common for people to reach out and actually want to have characters put into Smash, especially outside of Nintendo. Hideo Kojima approached Masahiro Sakurai to try to get Solid Snake added to Melee, but the game was too late in its own development cycle to include the character. The cool thing about this though is because there was another Smash game that was going to be in development years later, that meant that Snake was actually going to be one of the first characters to be put in Brawl. The reveal trailer for the character is iconic to this very day. I have immense amounts of nostalgia for it because it feels reminiscent to the character reveal trailers that we have today that are on mainstay to the series. And this also means Snake is the very first third-party character ever added to a Smash game. But back in the day, Snake might have fell out of place in Smash. He's taller than most of the other characters. He's also one of the most realistic fighters in the game. Having weaponry and explosives, Sakurai has stated in interviews that Snake was designed to be a heavy weapons expert style character, which some people do have criticisms over because some of his moves feel a little out of place, like his RPG and his mortars, not weaponry that Snake would commonly use in Metal Gear, let alone in the Metal Gear games of the time period, where Snake was more tactical and was known for using a pistol and a knife. Neither are a part of his moveset at all. But despite this nitpick, Snake's moveset led very well to Brawl's engine, and in competitive play, despite being rather unconventional in Smash compared to the rest of the cast, with a jump squat being one of the slowest in all of Smash. Not just in Brawl, the whole series. He had a worse jump squat than Melee Bowser. It's a major red flag for a lot of characters. Even the fact that Snake is slower compared to a lot of Brawl's casts, and he's also a heavyweight character, which is going to come with its own flaws, like being combo food. He's heavier than King Dedede, Charizard, Donkey Kong. I guess Snake is really thick in this game. You could probably say it's because of that. But the fact that Snake has a slow jump squat and is a heavy character can sometimes be a death blow. It's a contributing factor on why Melee Bowser was a low-tier character. Snake is actually a weird anomaly in his archetype. His moves being really hard-hitting and their startup is actually insane. He has even the lowest crawl in the game, so he has that going for him too. And I'm not gonna lie, in this iteration of Snake, he is extremely cheesy. Having moves with significant amounts of range and power. He is actually one of the strongest characters in the game at camping, and it's because of his heavy weight allows him to live for a very long time. And this also has to do with his unconventional recovery options that include blowing himself up with his own grenades in C4 in order to allow Snake to live and tech the stage, for example. He can do this out of up special. Neutral B is Snake's aforementioned grenade, where he can actually throw it any direction depending on where the player is going to hold the control stick. The grenade actually comes out at frame 1, which means the move is actually a potential defensive tool and good at breaking scuffles. It is a really smart defensive strategy, as not only does this give Snake 2 grenades at one time, which is a little bit silly, I'm not gonna lie. Glide tossing exists in Brawl, and Snake can take advantage of that because he has a very solid projectile. Many people see the grenades as one of the best in the game, projectile-wise. It really depends on your opinion. Snake's down special follows a similar explosive format that is the aforementioned C4. It's actually got insane amounts of KO potential, and it's Snake's best tool for killing off the top blast zone. You simply just have to place it on the opponent or on the ground, wherever you want to put it, and then press down B again and the C4 will blow up. Up special was a solid recovery tool. It allows Snake to go very high in the air, being his Cipher. The Cipher is also cancelable, so if Snake chooses to, he can end it at a certain period. His side special is a remote missile. The missile can be controlled and hit the opponent. The move is definitely not Snake's best tool, especially in Brawl. It's probably his least used special move in the game, but because of its tendency to miss and it leaves Snake in a long stuck animation until the missile blows up, or if Snake loses track of it. You can cancel its lag with shielding, which does alleviate the problem somewhat, and you can edge guard effectively with this move too. It's not completely useless. A mortar attack, and the move will fly high in the air the longer Snake will charge with the move. Snake can also Dacus with this move, and it's a very solid Dacus. You slide far with it. Although it is not more powerful the longer Snake holds it down, but because of its Dacus usage, you can technically zone with it, which is really hilarious that you can zone with a smash attack, but yeah, you can. Forward smash, Snake will pull out an RPG. It is a massive KO tool, doing 22%, and it's the third most powerful forward smash in the whole game. Despite its slow amounts of startup, the move also makes no sense. Pointing at the floor, he's literally pointing at his feet. It doesn't make any sense. He should be blowing himself up, but it's smash. It doesn't make sense. Nothing makes sense, okay? It's just funny. He does a thing. Down smash is a claymore that actually gets placed on the ground and it will detonate if anyone comes near it. It's also another trap element in his moveset, and Snake can set up into this stronger attacks like his C4 and blow them up with it. It's actually a very common combo. Although he can only place one claymore at a time, and then it will blow up the previous one if Snake has one out on the field. Snake's neutral air is a quadruple kick attack. Don't ask me how this is even possible with all the weaponry Snake is holding. Again, it's a little silly, but we're just gonna move on. He can just do it, okay? Don't question it. It is rather difficult to link all of its hits together, but the move can actually deal 28% if it's done correctly, which is actually pretty insane for a Nair. There is plenty of startup and end lag though. It is rather flawed. It has some really situational usage, but it is there. Forward air is a beefy attack. If you land the heel, Snake will meteor the opponent downward. Otherwise, it will just send the opponent upwards similarly to his Nair. It has plenty of startup and end lag, but it can be a strong finisher. Back air is a spacing tool and also possible for edge guarding. Its body hitboxes are actually the sweet spot. It's one of the strongest back airs in the game when sweet spotted. An up air follows in this move's footsteps and has a high amount of startup, but lots of lag as well. And down air is another multi-hit move doing 28% with an actual quick amount of startup. The final hit of this move is definitely the strongest, making it a finisher off stage. Snake's standing grab does have slow startup lag, although all of his grabs have good range, and even his pivot grab. It is very fast. Snake can force every character into an aerial grab release, and because he's Snake, he can grab release characters higher, and then he can release them and then combo off of it. All of his throws are possible setup tools into his traps and his moveset. The most interesting thing being his down throw. Down throw will put the opponent on the ground, put them in an instant tech chasing situation. And in fact, this is the best throw in the game for doing tech chases, and it's an integral tool for many of Snake's KO confirms. The throws even do 12%, which is a lot of damage for a throw. So not only does he have one of the most rewarding throws in the game when it comes to gaining advantage, it also does a lot of damage too. His jab is a strong confirmation tool, dash attack is a somersault attack, it is straight from Metal Gear, forward tilt is a strong spacing tool, and it's actually got plenty of power and range to it. Down tilt is a low kick attack, you can set up with it. And I saved the best for last. You know about Brawl Snake, you know about this move. Up tilt is the silliest move in Snake's entire kit. It has massive amounts of range, and it is a really strong combo starter because of how jank its hitbox size is. I mean, just look at how this hitbox comes out before his leg is even fully extended, and it's massive. It is a super jank move. I mean, just look at it. It gives Kirby's up tilt from Smash 64 a run for its money. What's funny about Snake is as soon as Brawl came out, people immediately saw his laggy moveset, his slow jump squat, and they thought, this character has to be bad. Or even a mid-tier, maybe. Then over time, this pretty much changed overnight. People realized that he has multitudes of advanced techniques and plenty of defensive, campy tools that lend really well to Brawl's engine. I glazed over a lot of this stuff because he's just that deep. Snake quickly rose to being second in the game, and it was more common to see Snake in Brawl's meta. Over time, his placing would fall a bit as people would find ways to juggle Snake and punish him for his heavy weight and his laggier moves, but he would later fall each consecutive tier list, most recently being seen at 8th place, but still a top tier character. He's literally the second most successful character tournament-wise in Brawl's meta. As I mentioned earlier, Snake's flaws are his poor air game and his reliance on laggier attacks, and his fastball speed, his heavy weight. The low jump height even contributes to his difficulty for escaping pressure. And as the later Brawl meta developed, people figured out that there was ways to beat Snake's Cipher, as it does lack a hitbox. And of course, because of his weight, this also meant he was going to be chain grab bait by characters like Pikachu, which is actually one of his worst matchups in the game. Despite these flaws, Snake is actually an amazing character in Brawl, and gee, I wonder if this possibly can go better for him. If only it did, right? Okay. Now, Snake's appearance in Brawl was his only appearance in Smash for a long period of time, as sadly he would get cut in Smash Wii U and 3DS. It was speculated that there was politics going on over at Konami, potentially being the reason why Snake was cut, as Hideo Kojima was stepping away from the series and Konami in general. As Kojima was a big reason Snake was included in Brawl, so people speculated him moving away from the company made it harder for Snake to be brought back. But obviously that wouldn't last forever, as Snake would return in Smash Ultimate. Now you gotta be asking yourself, okay, we might have actually dodged a bullet there, because I just thought about it the other day, and then Snake in Smash 4 probably would have been insane. I don't think he would have been nerfed that much, because in Ultimate you could argue he's not really nerfed that much in a lot of ways. But in Smash 4 he would have done really well in that engine because of ladder combos existing, the smaller blast zone being a thing. We dodged a bullet there, okay? Snake would have been insane in Smash 4. Don't get me started on how good Rage was in that game, because Snake would have loved Smash 4 Rage. He would have just lived in it. This period wouldn't last forever. Snake would return in Smash Ultimate. He's gotta be nerfed, right? Just use your head here. He was really cheesy in Brawl. You can argue that many aspects of Snake should be toned down, and I would agree with you. If there was a sequel, like, let's get this up tilt out of here, I can't see how he's not gonna be nerfed. I was expecting him to be bad this time around, and boy was I wrong. Snake was marginally better in Smash Ultimate, which means Snake is just as good as he was in Brawl almost, if not a little bit better too. Still having a versatile moveset and being known for his moves having fast startup, plenty of burst options, projectiles, high damaging moves, and attacks with plenty of KO power. Now having a more sleek design with the more vibrant look in Ultimate, majority of Snake's animations are more polished now and they don't look as jerky. One of the big changes is Snake is immensely going to enjoy the 3-frame jump squat that the whole cast gets to enjoy in Smash Ultimate. Right away, this is going to improve his shield game, his aerial combat, and Snake's run and walk speed are also faster, along with his fast fall, his traction, his airspeed being improved. The big trade-off is Snake is a lot lighter, and this is because they nerfed his cheek size. Okay, sorry. They nerfed his weight from 113 to 106, making him go from being a super heavyweight to just being a regular heavyweight. This is a negative because this is going to nerf Snake's survivability, which was really strong in Brawl. And Snake does love the directional air dodge in Ultimate because it literally gave him an air dodge out of his up special, which is kind of silly, I'm not going to lie. This is actually a huge recovery buff, as Snake no longer goes helpless out of this move anymore. He also doesn't have to worry about chain grabbing this time around. In fact, this is a major thing about Snake in this game, as many of his moves did get toned down, which initially was seen as a major red flag for a lot of people that were trying to pick up Snake, especially at release. Like jab, forward and down tilt, dash attack, forward smash, and all of his aerials have more limited KO power. And don't get me wrong, these moves are still very strong, and they definitely are in their own lane as far as KO power goes, but they are not as good. And his range on his up tilt was also thankfully nerfed. It was drastically toned down. All of his moves can also be absorbed by projectile absorbing characters like Ness or Lucas, so they don't have to really worry about Snake's camping ability nearly as much. And Snake also lost his down smash mine. They took away a possible stage control tool. His down smash is now a little bit more of a basic attack for covering rolls. It's not a terrible down smash. His down throw still has a down effect, but you can no longer tech chase as easily, and it does less damage. Thank God this move was nerfed. Along with it still being a bread and butter KO setup tool, similar to Brawl. Even though it's toned down, it does a lot of the same stuff though, so it is what it is. While some of his moves did get nerfed, there's moves that got plenty of buffs, like his up smash being much stronger in this game. It's actually way better at ledge trapping and cheesy kills off the top. Forward smash has less end lag, making it harder to punish. Nair also has less startup and is easier to land. Forward air and down air benefit from the faster moves and auto canceling. Hand grenades have less lag, and this also makes these moves more dangerous, especially at defensive play. They even explode faster, which is a huge buff. This is going to help Snake's offensive ability. C4 detonates faster and has less lag, and Snake can detonate while crawling. And even side special, which was by far one of his worst specials in Brawl, is now a lot faster and is easier to maneuver. They decrease its end lag by a lot, making it a better tool for KOing and edge guarding. Throughout the updates, Snake would get buffed, like for example his up tilt having an increased clean hitbox length, but they did nerf his up smash's KO power. Hand grenade was nerfed, remote missile was toned down, especially on its hitbox sizes. His jab gained more consistent hitbox while enlarging his shield size. And while Snake received a mix of buffs and nerfs, the buffs outshine a lot of these nerfs this time around, which shows how good this version of Snake is. He ended up being a stronger version than the Brawl iteration, which is crazy as, yeah, he was a top tier in pretty much both games. having arguably a safer recovery in Ultimate, better tools at edgeguarding, and still many of the DNA from Brawl Snake is here even after some of these moves being nerfed. Of course, there is a trade-off on Snake's weight and the damage potential on his moves being toned down, but as a result, Snake was really good in Ultimate and did well in Tournament, even better at poise than the Brawl version. Now, Brawl Snake is an explosive character to say the least. While this iteration of the character is technically ranked lower than the Ultimate iteration, they're still top tiers at the end of the day. One is slightly better than the other. It's very close between which version is better or not. The main difference though is the Brawl version is just a bit more janky attack-wise, especially this up tilt. He has a down smash that was a mine in this iteration. He didn't have the faster, more streamlined aspects of the Ultimate iteration, especially to side special, and also the improved jump squat. But he's still a slower character, a strong meta threat in Brawl's engine, and it's pretty obvious to see why. Now in Ultimate, its early meta, Snake was seen as actually a very popular character, responsible for easy ways to break combos because of the faster grenades, and still having the classic Snake tropes. He's a defensive beast. I mean, he has high amounts of KO power, guaranteed kill setups depending on the percent, and this was why Snake was speculated to be in second place in many of the early Smash Ultimate fan tier lists, especially during 2019. There would be peaks and valleys during the official tier lists for Snake's viability. Snake's popularity saw a decline and then an eventual bounce back, which is when he became the 4th best character in Smash Ultimate, which is actually insane that he maintained this level of consistency. And while he's only appeared in 2 games, each iteration is a top tier character. The Ultimate version is slightly better than the Brawl version, but Snake kind of wins this ranked video because he's good in both games. What can I say? He's an amazing character. Anyways, thank you guys for watching the video. There's a Patreon down below if you guys want to support the channel and get videos early. There's a link down below if you guys want to follow me on Instagram. Thank you, take care, have a good one. Peace.